Cutting tops?
Yes.
These are gorge. Look at these beauties. It's a beauty.
Oh, this one's squishy. Where's it?
Cutting tops. We're gonna wash.
How about I pick something else?
That's fine.
Like that.
Whoa. Show them. Bring it here. Bring it close to the camera. Oh my, look at that. That's a crazy one. All right, pick them up. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Kylie Gray and you are on our farm in Central Oregon. We are a garden zone 3 with a possible frost risk all year round. I say this all the time because I get new people all the time, so if you've heard it a million times, you'll hear it a million more. Tonight, I'm in my large garden. We have 3 kind of garden spaces, which we have this 14,000 square foot garden with our half in ground greenhouse. Because we are in such a cold climate, it just gives us extra, it stays warm in there. We also have a high tunnel, which is a 30 by 72 foot high tunnel, and we also have a small 900 square foot garden over there. And that garden has been where I've been filming a lot. But tonight we're going to be filming in the big garden, and before I started this video, the carrot harvest. We had something come into our garden, and I think a deer broke through the fence and got in and was starting munching on our carrots. I had talked to you guys about, I had shared about that, and I ended up harvesting. We still got like a tote and a half full, separated them into 2 totes. I'll show you guys in a later video on how I store all those, but essentially that's that. This row of onions is needing some harvesting. These are my Walla Wallas. These are my red Walla Wallas and my regular Walla Wallas, and they have gone pretty well. They're probably past time to be harvested. I'm finding a sweatshirt out here, my kids. Okay, I just need to get to harvesting these guys. We're in the season of harvest. We've been harvesting a bunch out of the high tunnel. I've been harvesting all of my carrots in here, obviously. We still have leeks and parsnips and a few rows of onions. These are my storage onions. They're not going to be ready till probably in another couple weeks. Let's see. They're typically smaller. They're getting pretty good. Pretty good. My storage onions are smaller this year, but my Walla Wallas are massive this year. I had a really awesome storage harvest onion year last year, and I ended up putting them in totes, and that was just beginners. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and there was just so many onions, it was overwhelming, and I ended up losing quite a bit because they were in totes and they couldn't breathe. Duh. I just learning, so I'm still learning on how to store things. I'm getting pretty good on growing things now, learning how to store things, and sometimes you still have failures growing things, and that's just part of gardening. It's just something one year is going to do really well for you, and the next year it's not going to do well for you, especially in our harsh climate. I get the shadow of the camera. So I'm gonna just set you up here, and I'm gonna start harvesting because I need to get these onions harvested. And tonight I'm just going to lay them out of the beds, get them dried up. We're just gonna pick them. So when you harvest your onions, you really want them. This one's a little definitely done, but you see how the top is bent over? That's what you want to see. This is a nice purple Walla Walla. Yep. Majority of them are the red Walla Wallas. A lot of the white ones must have bit the big one. I kind of, it was my problem. We bought starts from Wilco. Typically I like to start them from seeds, but I also buy starts, I can't help it, at Wilco. Don't buy the sets, those are POS, but the starts, which are the actual, they look like little tiny green onions, those work wonders. I know you can buy them online from Dixondale Farms. I've never done it that way. I just buy them when I see them in town. I wanted to harvest the final one with you because this is the onion that has taught me a lot. Oh, I guess it's not the final one. I found another one. Some of them are small. Well, this is like a normal onion size, but some of them are like this, and this is a good one where the tops are still green, but it's bent over. You can tell it's done. I actually found two that were next to each other that were a little past their time and kind of smushy. I just left those things in there. This, if you haven't seen any of the videos where I've talked about this, I really felt like I needed to I have some personal faith convictions that I have talked about in other videos. I'll see if I can link one above that. If you're interested, it will give you more in depth. But essentially, I just felt like I needed to pull back from this garden. We had a different way of gardening in the past, and oh, found another one. Not the one I wanted to show you. It's a little guy, and it's not bent over, so technically I could have kept this one going, but no. I needed to just step back, and normally my onion beds aren't so weedy and crazy, and I'm very diligent about cutting tops and really fertilizing them, and this year has just really shown me that sometimes you can steward your garden, and when you live in the high desert, so I'm still watering, but you can steward it and steward it and steward it, and sometimes, and essentially every year, I never think I can grow a garden. And every year I work my tail off growing this garden and researching what to do. I'm a big research when it comes to gardening. I never was very good in school. I never really found a love for it. I later think that when my oldest nephew was diagnosed as dyslexic, I was reading like how they classify dyslexia and how they diagnose it or whatever, and I just started crying because I felt like that was totally me. And I don't think there's different stages of dyslexia, and before they do the read alouds, I hated all that. So, but I've always felt like with gardening, I just yearn for knowledge, and I love learning things about gardening, and some things are still above my pay grade when you talk about like when you really get into like the numbers and get real sciencey and stuff, that's not where I'm at right now. Maybe one day, never say never, because I never thought I'd be able to retain the information I have now. And I just think I attribute it to the Lord, because it's totally a God thing that I can retain a lot of the information that I'm able to. And it does baffle. Oh, found another one. Hi, beauty. This is a good sized one. This is a normal size onion, but I've felt like I needed to pull back, kind of release myself from this garden and release it from weeding and planting more. And it's a big garden for one place. We used to market grow. So yeah. And through this, I have just really found that, you know what? It's really still not up to me to grow these seeds. The Lord can grow these seeds even when I cannot. Or grow these plants. And sometimes even in the crazy weeds, you get the biggest onion. You get the biggest onion. What I'm saying is, forget everything I've ever taught you about onions. Growing onions. Sometimes you just give up, stop weeding, and you get the world's largest onions. And this is a Walla Walla. She's massive. Look at my hand. It's like, I don't even know. In the midst of all these weeds, this grew. I don't know. The Lord's just been speaking to me through my onions and the harvest I've been pulling out of it, this garden in particular, and it's been a special year. I've talked about this, and I'm sad to see it go, but it is tiring. It is a tiring year, but it's been so delightful as well. And just bringing in the harvest, I forget how much, as you're stewarding things through the summer, you plant, you do all, there's like a ton of work in the summer or in the spring, right? And here, that's about the end of April when we start. And because we are in a short season, it's like go time. You have to like go hard because we have such a short season, so we have to get it done. And even planting something a week or so late really affects it. Then you have a couple months of rest where you're just kind of maintaining and watering and weeding and doing all these things, and maybe succession sowing. And then it's just, the harvest is just a whole nother ball game. It really is. Like, it's just a whole nother level. You don't even I don't think you can comprehend until you start growing on a larger scale. It's just, it is I've heard it described like the burden of abundance. It's a real thing. It's like you get so, like, I'm harvesting those carrots. I didn't even show you, but I got my, like, a big old metal aluminum trash can out and put a bunch of water in it and washed them. I store my carrots differently this year than I did last. And it is a burden, but it's a burden of abundance. It's the best burden you can have. Like, when you have so much to put up, it's just wonderful. And that's kind of how these onions are. It's like a lot of work once you get to the harvest, but it's like the best thing in the world as well. You just feel so accomplished and you're like, I did it. But then this year, I just let them go. He's like slimy on the top. I just literally let them go, and they're amazing. You want to go see the rest of the harvest? Let's go look at it. That's a normal size onion compared to that onion. Funny. Bam.
There's a baby. We got some good sized ones. That's a nice sized one.
It's pretty comparable. For tonight, I'm just gonna leave these Walla Wallas out. I'll come through and pick them up, and I have a drying rack on my porch. I'm gonna just kind of put them in. I think they'll fit. It's like a 5-tier drying rack. Also, so we've been in here cleaning up. I still have a bunch of leeks right behind me, right here. We've been cleaning up, and last fall I said I planted wheat, and I didn't think it took. Well, there's patches where it did, and it's all throughout this garden, and it's just been cracking me up. Or this bed, all amongst the weeds. So yeah, well, there's the carrot bed. We already harvested that. Peas are out of control. They're about done. And there's the onions, guys. But sometimes when we put down our best efforts and surrender, that's when a lot of beautiful things come from our surrender. And that is what I have been taught with these onions. So maybe not necessarily forget everything I've ever taught you or showed you what I do about onions, but also realize if you do none of them, you may still get a really awesome harvest. Thank you guys again for following along with me, and be sure to subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys.